Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your neat parent host, Zakaria. Inshallah, you're all well. I just wanted to give a few tips and reminders for those on their way to the hospital for their hospital birth. Inshallah, the hospital birth will go well, and it is helpful to have a hospital bag planned before labor starts. So inshallah, your hospital birth bag is planned probably about a month before your due date. If not, the latest I would suggest, that's just a personal suggestion, would be 2 weeks before your due date. But inshallah, a month before, because you never know if the birth can happen sooner than expected. So, not in any particular order of importance, things that might be helpful or might not be on your checklist, and hopefully this is a beneficial reminder of something you might have forgotten for your hospital birth bag. Chargers per device per person. So if you're going to have that one hospital birth bag for you and your spouse, I would say to have a charger per device per person. It is essential, because nothing is gonna the batteries don't last on anything, the tablets, the iPads, the phones, the laptops. So whatever device you're bringing, whatever it may be, a charger per device per person. No sharing chargers, it's not going to work. Next is have those same devices preloaded with the things that you think you're going to be using the most. If it's going to be your internet connection may not be that reliable, there might be bad reception in the hospital, the Wi-Fi may not be available from the hospital. So there are so many variables that can impact what you've downloaded onto your device and or anticipate using on your device while you're in the hospital. So definitely, if you're able to preload it with things that can be utilized or obtained without internet and with internet, just in case the reception's bad and or any of the many things that can happen. No Wi-Fi, bad reception, your internet provider is weak. So definitely preload that. All the devices you plan on bringing, preload it with what you would like on it, the Quran or du'as or the names of and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are very helpful, especially for the pregnant women, to just recite and say those names aloud. The other thing that I would recommend is a prayer rug. Although the pregnant woman is available or able to pray in the bed or on a chair, the father is, unless he's already praying in a chair regularly, is most likely praying the traditional way and the sunnah way. So you praying on the floor in the hospital I would not recommend it. So I would say a prayer rug is essential for the other person in the room, presumably the babas out there. Sometimes it's your sister, or it's your father, or it's your mother, another relative, but mostly that person in the room with you is usually typically the father. And having a prayer rug in the hospital birth bag is very helpful, because praying on the hospital floors, I wouldn't recommend it. A prayer rug or a towel or a sheet or something that you feel comfortable praying on and laying onto the hospital floor is definitely recommended if it's not already in your bag. As well as non-perishable halal snacks. You don't know what the options are. Fortunately, alhamdulillah, all of the hospitals where I've given birth in for my children, or when my children were born, all had halal meal options, but I didn't know for, I think, 2 of them, I didn't know what the options were. So I always packed something for me and my husband, and we had to pack non-perishable. You don't know how long you're going to be in there. You don't know when's the next time you'll have access or be able to leave, or what time the cafe will be open, what are subsequent, after you've given birth, what will you be able to, what are subsequent options? Because during labor, I believe, I can't remember, subhanAllah, memory is, you have amnesia. SubhanAllah, Allah gives us amnesia, so we don't remember most of that stuff. I believe you're not allowed to eat. Yeah, I think you're not allowed to eat during labor, but definitely your spouse can eat, and that's not fair. He should have something, and or the other person in the room with you should have something. So some non-perishable snacks, because you'll be cooped up for a while, and sometimes even if it's not a long period, you just probably don't even want to leave. So just good to have some non-perishable halal snacks, some dates, some granola bars, or whatever you choose. Just remember to pack it and include that in your hospital birth bag as well. Another thing, and this is for the pregnant mother, change of clothes for the father. That's definitely a very helpful thing for them to put in their bags, not necessarily because they will need it, but sometimes they're able to shower or slip into something, change into something more comfortable, and or something might have gotten dirty, or they might not have thought that they might need a change of clothes. So definitely a change of outfit for the babas out there. But for the pregnant mother, the hospital typically gives you a hospital gown. It is not a gown. It is pretty much your whole backside is out. So having an abaya or a really long robe, if you have one, like a long house robe or a long bathrobe, but typically they're not that long. So an abaya, even if you don't wear one every day, definitely including an abaya or robe in your hospital birth bag is extremely helpful. You can always wear it on top of the hospital gowns. You can always, and it should be something that you're comfortable letting get potentially dirty, or letting potentially drag on, or on the hospital floor, or touch hospital floors, as you will be once the child or children, if it's a birth of multiples, that you will be leaving the room to go with the baby or babies to their hearing testing, or their I think they take blood in a different room. I don't think they do it in the same room. It depends. But in most cases, at least once, the circumcision, at least once, you will leave the room, and you will not want to leave the room in the hospital gown that they provide with your whole backside out. So an abaya is something, if it isn't already in your bag, that's something I would definitely suggest be included in there, as well as a change of clothes for the males, just in the event that when they sleep, they might want to sleep in something else, or in case something gets dirty, or in case they just want to change their clothes and feel fresh, because there usually is, there's usually a shower. You usually have your own personal bathroom and a shower in there, and they're allowed to, they're human beings as well, and we're Muslims, has for our deen, so we have to be clean and shower and change our clothes. So some people might not remember to pack something for the babas out there, but definitely that's helpful for the babas. And then for the mothers, let's have something like an abaya, or something like a bathrobe, a long bathrobe, so that you can put on top of that unforgiving gown, they call it. Not my idea of a gown, but yeah, the patient gown that they give you. So those were just a few things. I'd love to hear, inshallah, if there was something that you felt was missing that is essential for the neat parent community of Muslim parents, and or if there was something that you've already utilized, and how that was what you thought was also an essential item. So inshallah, if you benefited inshallah, you will have benefited from the tips and reminders. And mashallah, if you've already had it included in your bag, you're ahead of the game. And the final, which is more like it's not a hospital bag item, but it is an item that many probably don't think of needing until maybe the baby is born. But the car seat, and I believe it's pretty universal, but definitely every city in the United States, you need to have the car seat in the car. They will not let you home. So if you have your own car and you know what car you're going to use to and from the hospital, definitely have that car seat latched, loaded correctly, installed correctly at least a week before, because you don't want to have it installed incorrectly or improperly latched and or missing on childbirth, on the day of the childbirth or the day of the discharge from the hospital. So you want to have the car seat and have purchased it. Even if you purchased it a week before, that's fine, but have it, get familiar with it, get familiar with installing it, and have it in the car that you will be using to head home after being discharged from the hospital after childbirth. So definitely car seat. So that's not necessarily a hospital bag item, but that is a hospital discharge or something to remember, so that you're not fumbling on the day of or the day it's time to go home and it's like, what? How do I install this thing? And just give yourself time to get to know it and or remember. Even if it's your 10th kid, sometimes you just forget. You're like, oh, I forgot, where's the car seat? So have that car seat. I would say that that's a bonus reminder for the expecting parents, inshallah. That is all. If there are any comments or additional tips that you'd like to share, please let me know, inshallah. Okay, until the next podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.